did like the sugar daddy too.
I know.
I don't want to talk about it, but I like this.
Yeah, you feel a little dirty.
Especially like, ooh, what is that? I'm like, it's the sugar daddy. It's my sugar daddy.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. How you living? No putts given. Last episode of the year, Tony. How you feeling?
2022 finale. Like, how many of these do we do? It seems like a lot.
Feels like a lot. We made it, kind of.
We did. Well,
a little premature.
There's still time. It could explode.
Premature. So, as some people might expect,
celebrate just yet.
Let's not count all of our chickens and eggs and things before hatching and whatnot. But we thought it might be fun to do a little retrospective, a little look back at some of our favorite things. And I got a couple of questions for you too, Tony, that I didn't tell you about because I just want to pick your brain and
we're going off script here. All right.
Well, sometimes that's the best stuff. It's on my script. It's not off my script.
I did not get a copy.
You were not provided an advanced copy. But we look back at the year 2022. It was a good year for equipment.
Solid. I'd say solid. Not like the best ever.
Solid, if not spectacular, or if not, relatively unspectacular, but solid enough.
Yeah.
So what impressed us? We're going to kind of go category by category. What did you hit? What's in your bag? And then, downside is you get 14 clubs.
It's not enough. It's
not enough. But it's not like you can hit 4 drivers on every hole. It's like...
Have you ever seen me play?
There are times, at least
if
2.
If at first you do not succeed, try.
Yeah.
Again.
It's a fair point. But, for most people, right? You go play golf, it's like wearing an outfit. You gotta pick the starting lineup for that day. And as much as we like to switch stuff in and out at times, more or less we kind of find ourselves, right, playing a set of irons, particular drivers. So let's kind of go category by category. I want to know, Tony, what was your winner, your personal? This is data aside, all that stuff, your personal winner. And then what's kind of the next one that you wish you would have tried, or one that if said, okay, if I put that one on the shelf, I really want to dig into something else a little bit more. So let's start with driving.
It's interesting because you and I, we tend to, it's a nice luxury to have, but we tend to be fitted for everything in our bag. That's not to say we don't sometimes go, ooh, this is new, let's go try it out. But for the most part, everything that we play, we've been fitted for. And then, so to me, it's interesting to kind of look at, hey, what's next on the list? Maybe we were fitted for it, maybe not. What did you kind of play with that you really like that kind of way of looking at it? So, yes, let's do it.
Let's get it. Driver. Let's start at the top. People want to know about drivers. So let's start there.
Yeah, I was fit for the Titleist. Thought maybe it would get a strong challenge in the spring because you had things like stealth and what was it, a rogue? It was a rogue lineup. I'm already moved on. I'm already thinking paradigm right now. I'm already shifting paradigms in my head. But I settled in, fit for it, stayed with it, just couldn't quite get comfortable. And I tried probably 5 or 6 other drivers for one round each, and just was never kind of that same feeling of confidence, comfort that I had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the next one on your list?
Yeah,
so TSR3. What's the next one you say? Hey,
surprisingly, kind of, I would say it was the Rogue Max LS. That was the next one out. Yeah, I took all 3 Callaway drivers out on the course, messed around with it, and the Max LS was the one that I really liked, and probably if not for the 3, I think it would have gone in my bag.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't argue the TSR stuff. I mean, it's again, they got a little bit of a head start in the sense that it's the next generation of product, but came out in 2022, but will be included in 2023 testing. The next one on my list, though, to try, where that would have very easily been in my bag all year long, is Cobra. LTD XLS. We got a chance to hit that earlier in the year. And if for no other reason, then I felt like the sound and feel was so much improved compared to the previous generation rad speed stuff.
Low bar, super low bar, man.
Yeah, I mean it's like the it's like I felt bad. I think I got one of these awards one time, but like on your junior league soccer team or whatever, the kid that got the
most improved.
Yeah. It's like the double-edged sword award you didn't really want to get because most improved also meant
to be good, you had to be bad.
You had to be real bad. You showed the most growth. Well, yep. Way to go, loser. You just, so, but but comfortably right now in TSR, and like you said, there's some stuff coming up. I'm very, very excited.
It's a good year for drivers.
It's going to be a great year. I'm going to say right now, it's going to be a phenomenal year for drivers. There's just, I think, a lot of quality across the board. And this will get to one of my questions for you later. Approaching some of these things that might make a huge difference. So we'll get there.
I mean, to clarify, I went from TSI to TSR. So, but no gap in between. Like I tried. Just
no. Yeah. And again, you can only play one theoretically on each shot. So it's hard not to disparage other ones. It was interesting. Two of my buddies that I ended up kind of fitting for different clubs, both went into stealth this year. Hadn't been fit for. I'm going back to like one was sim, one was maybe sim 2, but I think sim as well, and saw noticeable improvements. Like one was M5 and one was M3 perhaps. So anyway.
Ooh. Going way back,
Going way back. Mega improvement. Fairway woods, Tony. What was your best?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a repeat. I mean, I started with TSI and then just rolled right into TSR. Again, going from clubs that I was fitted for into clubs that I was fitted for, and that was pretty easy to stay there. Oh my God, the dogs of no putts given
dogs are barking.
Rowdy. Anyway.
Rowdy bunch.
Yeah, so TSI to TSR, same with the driver. And then, kind of the next on the list, I think this is where that LTD line came into play for sure. Mm-hmm. And I don't tend to see a lot of fairway woods, believe it or not. Like those are stories that you write that nobody reads. So I don't often get the stuff. I don't take a lot out on the course. But of the stuff I saw, the Cobra was next on my list for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you talk about Cobra because I want to go back to a club that you and I both played, the original LTD, which was
legendary 3-wood.
Yeah,
it's in the Pantheon.
It is, and it not only is it in the Pantheon, but it's in my rotation because it, really was that for me first fairway wood that was ultimately really high launch, low spin, but had a much bigger head than it looked more intimidating at address than it was actually to hit. It was much, much easier to hit than it looked. And, again, people that follow us that pay attention to things like CGNA and, how close they were able to actually get that center of gravity right to the neutral axis. And actually, that one was actually on neutral axis, I think, if not.
It's close. It's just a beast of a 3-wood, especially.
And every iteration you see when they've come out with something new, it's more, like they couldn't get that club out of Lexi's bag, right? The original LTD. And so that fairway wood may be still one of my best of, even in 2022, because the incarnations since then from Cobra more or less have played on that blueprint with very, very subtle changes and tweaks because it's such a good
classic. If it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely. So that one absolutely staying right. The one that intrigued me that I would have played more had I had more time or more fairway wood requirements. Stealth, the first stealth. People, again, just an app from an absolute rocket launcher perspective. I know you go all the way back to like RBZ and that was kind of one of those holy grail-ish type of jumps in fairway woods for some players. I feel like people that hadn't been fit for a fairway wood or hadn't upgraded in the fairway wood department that said, hey, stealth is new, I might as well get another matching piece of luggage with it. I got the driver, I'll get a fairway wood.
All three sizes, right?
All three sizes.
Driver, fairway, hybrid. Boom, done.
Yep. People saw some crazy, crazy stuff with that, so I would have definitely wanted to play with that one a little bit more, but very, very happy with Cobra. How many hybrids?
I got a chance to hit, and again, like I said, I don't get a lot of fairway woods up here for the most part, but I got a chance out of Goat Hill to hit Phillips. He had probably a Rogue Max in the bag, and I really liked it. So
what'd you like about it? What specifically did you like?
It was one of those, I just felt like it was really easy to hit. Just wanted to go straight for me. Got up in the air quickly. Now I don't think it's probably going to be as long. Certainly not that configuration. So if Philip plays the 15 degree, I tend to play the 13 and a half. That's a little bit different.
Those with additional dynamic loft properties.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's crazy how much CG location matters. And I know that we've said this before, but like you look down at Cobra, look down at the LTD, you make the same argument about TSR 2+, the new one from Titleist. You look down and you put it on the ground and you go, there's no way I can hit this thing up in the air. It just doesn't. You look at it and go, how am I supposed to elevate the ball off the deck, tight lie, and I'll be darned if the thing doesn't.
We talk about that though, like the importance of the 3-wood. It's not a club. 3-wood, 5-wood, even not a club. Golfers swap out a lot, and so I think, man, if you have one and you're confident with it, stick with it. I mean, it's when you don't even have to go sniffing around on it. In fact, like I wasn't looking to replace my 3-wood. I had the TSI 2 actually, and was initially kind of disappointed that it wasn't available in the 13.5, and so I ended up in the 3. And it's, I don't have a problem hitting the ball in the air. That's why I can play that 13.5, and just to get that and the low spin benefit, like, that one's been fun. Like it's almost like the footprint's smaller, but it is sort of it's that mini driver mindset for me. Like, okay, this thing is going to go as far as I could ever realistically want it to.
It's one of my rules too in gambling. If you're gambling with somebody and you don't necessarily know them very well, check and see how new or old their 3-wood is. If they have, an old Cleveland launcher or an old Tour Edge Exotics or something with like a dime size wear mark, don't gamble. That person's going to roll you. I can almost guarantee it. Just steer clear, Tony. We know people like that. Hybrids.
This was the year I took the hybrids out of the bag. I did not play a hybrid for a single round this year.
Why not? First time. Why'd you? Because you were a big hybrid guy.
2 years ago, maybe even. I had a 3. No, did I have a 3? I typically had a 4 and a 5, so I had 2 hybrids in the bag.
Yeah,
the 5 obviously not one that a lot of people carry. Thought about a 6 and might have gone to it if I could find one that wasn't just like, hey, look at the loft, Right. That's brutal for me.
Why'd you ditch them though? Why'd you break up?
I started hitting my irons better, so the 5-wood, or excuse me, 5 iron no longer an issue. So got really comfortable with the 5 iron.
Okay.
Thus removing the need for the 5 hybrid. And I'm not one who comes out and promotes workability and shaping shots and all that stuff, but certainly if you're blocked out a little bit and you need to move something around a tree, it's a little easier to do with a 5 iron, or if you've got to keep it under something, a little easier to do with a 5 iron. So that's
elite punch out game.
Yes,
if you need an elite
world class, hook it around a tree, whatever, absolutely world class. And that's, 5 iron I find is a little better on those shots. And, I give myself 1, 2, or 3 of those around. So,
all right. So you got better, a little bit better, more comfortable with the 5 iron. Where'd the 4 go?
The 7. Oh, it's cheat code. We've talked about it before. Again, started with the TSI 7. Wasn't sure I was going to play it. Like, all right, well, let's go. It was one of those things like, hey, all the tour guys are swapping to these. Let's go check it out. I was like, this is really interesting. because the shot pattern just kind of goes like that. Just comes in. I wouldn't take it to Bandon Dunes. That's the kind of thing where we'd have to make a decision there.
Yeah.
Because it does get up in the air, but again, pretty seamless switch to the TSR7. And so now wherever we go, like when we were at Ping, when we were at TaylorMade, I'm like, can I try the 7? Let me hit the 7. And it's, there's no magic in a Titleist 7 wood. It's like, hey, this is only true for the Titleist. No, man.
Right.
Like I found with the Ping, with the
worked pretty well.
They get up in the air, they go straight, and as long as you don't have wind in your face, a lot of wind, it's fantastic. It's one of those like when Lou was on, right? He said, "I don't know why I didn't switch sooner." I cannot promote 7 woods enough. Like if you have not tried one, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. I think this is an interesting space because I for a long time I've been I've struggled with hybrids. Like a lot of people whose miss tends to be left. Hard to find a hybrid that I liked enough that wouldn't go left. And I noticed something when we were out at Titleist recently, and we were going through some fitting stuff. And the guy who was fitting me, was like kind of reminding me because my angle of attack tends to get a little bit scoopy. So I was like 0 or even +1. So I was actually hitting slightly up on the hybrid during the fitting. He's like, no, hit down, get your angle of attack a little bit steeper.
Like an iron.
Okay. Like an iron. But in my head, for some reason, if the club didn't sound like an iron at impact, it was harder for me to hit it like an iron. And I found one of the models that sounded a little funkier. It felt a little denser. It felt more like hitting a long iron. And for me, for whatever reason, that made it easy. And all of a sudden I'm 2 degrees down and clipping it and hitting it again like an iron. And so that's an interesting kind of deal for me. If I had more time, probably 7 wood. That's one I did not play a 7 wood at all. I didn't, because I was able to find more or less some kind of 5 wood-ish stuff or long iron kind of stuff because, like you, I tend to hit the ball high. And so some of those driving iron type clubs, utility iron type clubs tend to do well for me in that 20 to 22 degree kind of space. So I tend to play around with those a fair bit. But
I like the forgiveness.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. So if I had more time, I would. So 7 wood might be something that I see myself dabble, play with, kind of find, see if I can't find something in there. But
I never hit it anywhere but the driving range. But the stealth stuff I liked last year, hybrid wise, I thought that was pretty solid. I think as a guy, I've been a huge proponent of PXG hybrids. I think I actually kind of like that stealth stuff a little bit better this time, which is rare. We'll see.
Yeah,
if that holds up. But yeah, that was kind of the one I was thinking about. But again, just so locked in with the 7 wood, just so like, why would I not play this?
Yep. If you are a PXG player out there or whatever, the thing that made difference for me is, and they didn't talk about this a lot and really until the last generation or two. I don't think Ping talked about it a ton too. But some of these loft settings they have in there that can go way flat. Right. So if you are,
it's not a secret menu, but it's kind of secret menu.
It's not labeled on there like, hey, PXG
anti-hook.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, what's the thing we hear all the time from guys who don't play hybrids? The reason you didn't play a hybrid?
You got the blinker on, turning left, going left.
Hard left, right? U-turn practically.
And once you see 1 or 2 of those in a fitting session or whatever, I'm like, nope, don't want it. Yeah. I can't, like, if I see that flight once or twice, I'm not going to be able to confidently swing in a fitting session, let alone out on the course. And no, just take it back. Don't want it. And like, oh, let me do this. All right, now it's 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees flatter or whatever. And you're here like, oh.
Yeah, see more of that. Go, hey, guys, you can flatten it out. Hey, guys, some of these you can slide some weight into the toe. And if you're not careful, you could even overcook it. And you could be a guy who's going, I can't play hybrids because all I do is hook them, to guys like, I can't play this hybrid because all I do is fade it. So
right. Right.
Tools, man. Use the tools.
14 clubs, each one with an individual job. Start treating them as such. Irons. Which irons did you play, Tony? You said you're able to hit a 5-iron again.
Yeah, this was actually the most surprising spot in my bag because, last fall
Wait, let me guess. You started playing blades, and you learned how to hit irons.
Yeah, and then once I became a prodigious ball striker from playing blades, I moved into the Super Game Improvement iron so I could actually play. But still not sure how that math works.
I know.
No, so saw them in the fall. The Cobra Forge Tech, and what did they call it? Theirs is the Tour, right? Forge Tech. Is it Tour or Pro? I can never remember I
think it's Tour. Let's go with that.
Yeah, whichever. And I fell in love with that iron, and I maintain to this day it is my favorite Cobra iron. I think it's the best effing Cobra iron ever. Absolutely loved it. Was convinced that I would play it all season long. We go out, March PXG event.
Yep.
Gen 5 irons. I've typically been a P player with usually like a T in the 9 and wedge. And I got fit into the Gen 5 Ts all the way, right? 5 through. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely loved them. Almost like I felt guilty about it because I was so on the Cobra iron, and I still love that Cobra iron. But again, part of it being fitting and, seeing the results that come out of that. And I'm like, okay, I am now a passable iron player in part because of what I'm able to do with these things. And, they were fit for me. And that means, hey, we're going to take this tour or semi-tour spec iron, right? I don't know what the stock number, what the stock lofts are, but hey, this is Tony, so we're going to bend them too strong so they fly like they need to, and things like that. So again, that's part of that fitting piece where you can really get locked in. And yeah, for me, that was just surprised. Like I said, I almost feel guilty about it. I almost feel dirty, but that's where we ended up.
These guys, Tony.
Yeah, I saw. I don't love the way they looked. That's a you thing. I'm like, this is, and not that it matters, but I looked at that iron and I was like, meh. Okay.
Yeah, I know people. So, Proto Concept. That's when I ended up playing the vast majority of the year. I did have another set that flopped in and out a little bit, but Proto Concept, for those of you who don't know, Japanese company. I was playing these irons before Lydia Co. Just for the record. So
you're first.
I was first. I was absolutely first. And a joint venture between largest golf retailer in, I think actually in the world, Golf Partner, big umbrella company. Clubs are forged at Endo, which is home of a lot of forgings, but their house brand is Epon or Epon, for those of you who may follow those kind of things. And one of the really, really cool things, so back up for a second. For me, in irons, I love how clean they look, but I really love, especially call it in the 7-iron through wedge, that player's cavity back. I don't want to see a lot of offset. I don't want a huge club, big top line, those kind of things. But I want some forgiveness. And so this whole concept of, hey, it's a cavity back, but gives you the, right? Because what's the absence of forgiveness is?
Workability.
Right? So companies do this where if a club's not workable, it's forgiving. If it's not forgiving, it's workable. So it's whatever, but they'll promote it one of two ways, right? It's either a muscle back with forgiveness qualities of a cavity back, or it's cavity back with workability of a blade or muscle back. But trying to marry those two up with the right amount of, to me, forgiveness with some element of workability. Because my irons, I'm not trying to work the ball.
I just thought they're meh looking.
See, and I thought they looked really good, clean. In their muscle backs, and this is part of their CO1, it looks like a true muscle back. But what they do is the actual billet of steel that gets forged, they impregnate it, pre-impreg, right? So like a pre-preg of a titanium rod. And obviously titanium's a lot lighter right, than the steel that's being forged. And so basically what it does, it works as kind of an internal pocket that then allows them to disperse more weight toward bottom, top, perimeter of the club, giving it some additional MOI properties that do make it play quite a bit more forgiving than what you might assume a standard or traditional muscleback iron might play like. I get it, Tony.
Meh.
They're not for everybody. They're not for everybody. But with that being said,
I love that you and I basically ended up in 2 irons that the people listening to this can't really just walk into any golf shop and try. Like if we had said, oh yeah, P790, go
right.
try it.
Right.
Proto
right.
concept, go.
That's a tough one. Even Fairway Jockey has them. I know some of the fitters do the true specs if you're, that space. But what always has my attention in this space, in the iron space, the company that always has my attention when they come out with something is Mizuno. And finally, we know these are coming out. We've already said that, right? The 923 Tour.
It is getting to be about that time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And according to Mizuno, again, they believe, at least what we've been told, that, we go back to like the MP18. They had maybe a little too much overlap in clubs with the SC, right? You have the split cavity, you have the MMC, and too much overlap. And really, since like MP64 or so, they haven't really had that true player's cavity back that is more forgiving than their like 221, the muscleback iron, but isn't necessarily like the player's distance iron. They've really been missing that club in that space. It kind of has that location all to itself. 920
So maybe.
Tour.
It's a maybe. It's a maybe.
We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah. So you got the same email I did. Some new stuff coming out, right? And it's like, hey, what iron are you going to be playing in 2023? Like, It is unknowable. That is unknowable in November, which was the time that came in. So
I've heard these guys may have a new little something come, which again, obviously you won't care at all about because it'll probably look clean, classic, very beautiful, or meh, according to you. It'll be beautiful.
Meh.
To me, but I'm optimistic. Wedges. We both played SM9s. No secret there.
Yeah, fitted 4 again. It's easy.
Fitted 4, done and done. But if you couldn't, Tony.
In a world.
The
SM9 doesn't exist. Yeah, boy. So I guess I'd be 2 minds with this. The ping stuff, it's just continues to impress, especially with that wet performance. Such a critical piece of performance that gets overlooked. And it's one of those things too, where as we've done that wet wedge test through the years, we've seen models, and I would put Vokey in this category, that maybe didn't perform well in wet conditions, that have slowly gotten better. And I'm not
SM8 didn't.
Yeah,
SM8 was not impressive. SM9 was much improved,
significantly better, and they're not necessarily talking up that piece of it, but you're seeing, certainly Mizuno does a great job with it. One of the juicy wedges, if I recall, was really good. One was not so good,
but one was really good.
So maybe a different groove spec there. So yeah, I think so. The ping is interesting for that reason, and the other one, the TaylorMade, the MG3, if for no other reason than it's just done so well in testing.
Twice.
I tried them out at Bandon Dunes when I was out there with TaylorMade. It might have been MG2 at that time. I can't even remember which milled grind it was, but
you were too busy playing golf, not paying attention to product presentations.
Not focusing on the iteration of the grind.
You weren't listening to details.
So yeah, that one too. I think that's one where, again, it's just continually tested so well for us, and I know kind of what goes into it and how much effort they've put into that. Grind options, maybe not as expansive as I would like. Not everybody needs that. Not everybody needs or wants the T grind necessarily, but I'd like to see more there. But yeah, that I think that's probably the one that I would have to look at next.
Yeah. I dabbled with the Juicy wedges. This is Jucie for those of you keeping score at home.
Including me.
Another Japanese brand. And if you know me, you know I love some of the off
I don't know where
menu.
you find this crap.
I know,
I shouldn't call it crap because
it's amazing. So the guy that designed,
regardless, I don't know where you find it.
No, but this guy who designed the new Juicy or that Juicy stuff, I'll just call him Q because that's how he's known to some of the industry folk. But he had done design work for 14 golf. If you remember back when we tested some 14 stuff, it did really, really, really well. So not surprising to me that
there's a lineage.
There's a lineage there, and I mean they're not for the faint of heart in terms of the pocketbook component. They're very pricey. A lot of the Japanese things are, but look at some of the design elements. And I know people get way too bent out of shape about this stuff when, this club looks like that club. Like, well, no shit. That's amazing. They're a muscle back iron. They did. No, you stole that design from, like, okay, fine, whatever. But you look at some of the there are some pretty interesting commonalities between MG3, that's one, and the TT, I believe, from Juicy. So you look at those, and not surprising to me that they would test well. And I think they, again, wonderful job. Not surprised at all. We'll be interested to see what comes of that. Would love to see a proto concept Juicy collaboration.
Meh.
You don't care.
You know what wedge I did like too that I played a few rounds with while I was waiting for the SM9s to come in was, and again, I always feel a little dirty. I don't know why. The Sugar Daddy.
Oh,
I did like the Sugar Daddy too.
I know.
It's I don't want to talk about it, but I liked it.
Yeah, you feel a little dirty,
especially like, what is that? I'm like, it's the Sugar Daddy. It's my Sugar Daddy.
But I mean, so many good options, right? A lot of good options out there. How about putter, Tony? You do you just give up, start putting with the wedge?
No, I actually, again, a case of when we went out to PXG, wasn't even on the radar.
Here we go.
We did the fitting, and I don't even know the real name of it because I call it the Warthog. It just looks like it's got tusks and But that was a case of where I was rolling it pretty well, and in talking to the fitter, he's like, it's like, a lot of guys can't get over the looks of this one. And I'm like, believe me, I understand that. But it was a case of like rolling it well, kind of liked it, was been trying to get into a mallet, played a mallet most of the year before, but had never been fit for a mallet.
Right.
Because I tend to be a very strong arc blade guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a case of, well, why not? Why not try this? Why not? Let's just roll with it. It's working out here. Let's do the full fitting. And if I hate it, throw it in a bag in a garage and I never have to look at it again. And I ended up using it all year. Putted well right up until, hit one of those spots where everything was crap. And I don't know, maybe blame the putter, but I have a feeling I would have putted like crap with anything. But
yeah, you putted really well right up until
I did it.
Right until you did it.
That's golf.
Yeah.
Stupid game.
Stupid game. So the two putters, I'm a big even roll guy. No secret there. But going back last year when we were out there and kind of went through some of their fitting things, I had in my head that I would tend to do better with a putter with a little bit less offset. Because of just kind of how I lined it up and whatever the case was. But I was getting much, much better numbers with just like the straight up old school plumber neck, answer style, Newport 2 style head. And so that kind of became my default. And I really, really, really liked it. And so there's that was that piece. But in the last month or so, month and a half, maybe.
Are you going to say it?
I've been dabbling, and I don't even feel a little dirty.
Everyone experiments in college, Chris, but you're older now.
I'm older, and I should know better.
I know where you're going.
Lab.
Oh, I said it.
I did. I said it. I did. World's ugliest putter by some, whatever. I don't care. I'm just saying, Tony. There's something to it. And I don't totally have a full handle on what it is or not. I need to spend some more time. It is a different feel.
So bizarre with you guys.
It's different.
Harry, all right, good old Harry.
Harry,
not Henry. Harry. Henry of Wilson Golf. He got fit for the lab. I don't know. I don't even know the model numbers. I call it the satellite dish. I call them
the 2.1, the old DF 2.1.
What I mean, it looked like some sort of Egyptian
branding iron. It's an Egyptian branding iron. Yeah,
there you go. So he got that thing with a stability shaft and absolutely loved it. Go down to the test facility about a month and a half ago, give or take, and Philip's playing the same damn thing with a stability shaft, and he's talking about how much he loves it and how much better he's putting with it. And I'm like, if you were telling me you were getting better TV reception, I would absolutely believe that. But okay, you're telling me you're putting well. All right. And then you show up at Goat Hill with kind of that new fang looking
the Mez. Little Mez.
I don't even. Yeah, the Mez and Dave Wolf. Dave Wolf did the We Tried It. I think he did kind of their virtual fitting thing, which I was supposed to do, didn't take advantage of, and now I'm like, I feel like I'm the cool kid because I'm the guy who hasn't jumped on the bandwagon. But yeah, I don't know. They look weird, but I swear, like everybody on our staff gets fit into one, and it's not even like, oh yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's like, man, all in. Greatest thing ever.
I know these guys that have jumped to
go play 18 holes, 28 putts, and then I go brand all my cattle in the afternoon. So that seems to be.
I asked. I think this would be a great addition. Like, I was reading like the new Echo Dot or whatever. You can also use it as like a Wi-Fi extender. I think there's an option there. I think there's an option there. Bring a little Wi-Fi with you out on the course, and there you go.
Yeah, I mean it's got the bulk. Like you could literally put anything you wanted in there.
Could be a hot spot.
My God. Yeah.
So I'm going to dabble with. So that's the one that more time. We'll see. And if I end up absolutely loving it, I don't care what it looks like.
I mean, you guys are big on the new even roll stuff that's coming out. That'll be, guys, heads up. That's I think that's the first embargo of the year. So you'll see that one really early in January. I know you're excited about that. And then again, like the lab stuff is just, it's bonkers to me, if only because we have a staff that has, especially the guys at the test facility, Harry and now Philip and John. I don't know. Did John join the cult as well?
Not sure if he's not sure.
He didn't have his bag with him. What about Bennett?
Drink the Kool-Aid yet?
No, Bennett's got like a Odyssey triple track.
She has the triple track. So Bennett does.
She has not joined the cult yet. But
no Kool-Aid.
Those guys have access to quite literally damn near everything other than a Scotty Cameron, ironically enough, on the market. And yeah, just to have guys like, we can play anything, but this lab is the real deal.
Like, I know. We'll see.
Whatever. Yeah.
We'll see. What ball did you play? Then I got some questions for you. What ball did you
stayed in left dash.
You stayed in left dash all year? If you couldn't play left dash, they stopped making it.
You want to talk about feeling really dirty?
I do. Get dirty, Tony.
All right. My second choice golf ball of 2022 for me personally
is
Callaway Chrome Soft XLS.
I wonder.
Can we just move on? We don't need to dwell. Just move on.
Wow. Was there a day? Did you ever think that day might come that you would say you?
No. No. Zero chance. 0% chance.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
You and me both, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that's not my answer. So there we go.
And again, open invitation, Callaway. Come on to No Putts Given and talk to us about your balls. Golf balls.
I stuck. So I did the elevation game, and I know one of our tenants in the
play the same ball always.
Play the same ball always, and I get that. I hear you. Had some good discussions with Marty Jurtson at Ping, who is admittedly much smarter.
Some ball-nomic philosophy in play here.
Yep, and
is it nomic or namic?
I'm going namic. I like ball namic.
Okay.
Not a.
Ball namic.
His suggestion to me was consider a sea level ball, which is where I was fit for left dot. And because
sea level.
Well, I mean, basically
0 to
when I'm not in Colorado, like
0 to Colorado.
So 0 to Colorado. So when I'm here, that's where the discussion's probably gonna be in that Pro V1 or Pro V1X again, just depending on launch and spin, but likely Pro V1 because I do also tend to hit the ball high. So getting,
And what is the philosophy behind the altitude adjustment for anyone who's unfamiliar? Why you would play a different ball in the mountains?
Yeah, because so basically when you're at altitude, so you're playing, and I saw this when I caddied in the Corn Ferry event. We see it all the time when guys are coming into Colorado, that tour rate for like the Colorado Open. You get players from all over the place. Obviously, Corn Ferry, these guys are all over the place. You'd see this a little bit PGA Tour event like down in Mexico when they were playing. And that was even, I want to say like 7,000, 8,000 feet, maybe even.
You don't tip your caddies in Mexico, right? That's that.
Depends. Totally depends.
On whether or not you're Matt Kuchar.
Exactly. I'm at 5,000 feet here roughly. So basically the idea being that at altitude, you can get away with a little bit more spin, right? To optimize, when you're trying to optimize carry, right, particularly with your driver, and then everything else is going to kind of fall off of there, you can get away with a little bit more launch and spin. So if you have like an ideal range and you kind of, again, when you're fitting for stuff, it's okay, here's my range of good. An ideal might be right dead center in that, but I'm not going to hit every shot perfect. So what's the absolute top of that I'm okay with in terms of spin and launch? And what's the absolute minimum that I'm okay? What's that threshold before I'm really kind of losing out on some of that, right? At altitude, you can skew higher for sure.
You don't want to go Kirkland high though, right?
I don't want to go Kirkland high, but when you think, again, one golf ball, 14 clubs, if I can adjust to those conditions by, rather than tweaking some loft lie stuff, whatever on my clubs, or if I have a ball and I know that it's going to launch X amount higher with X amount more spin, and that's a known variable, I can change one variable, or I can try to tweak 14. I guess 13, your putter probably doesn't come into play there as much, but that's the thinking anyway. Like I know Marty does that when he comes to Colorado. I want to say he plays Pro V1X, higher launch, higher spin. Titleist has said the Mexico event, they would get a number of players that week, and for that week only, switching to a different ball. Again, change one thing versus changing 10, 11, 12, 13 things.
Well, like I said, love a 7-wood, wouldn't play it at Bandit.
Right.
Love my tee grind. Starts to rain, or if I move to a soft course, it's got to go. Like that cannot be in the bag.
Yep.
That's like at that point in time, it just becomes a tool for ripping up sod. So I get it. Be interesting to see. I wonder.
So I'm going to dabble with that this year.
Spin. I wonder, like, what would I go to? Maybe Pro V1.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
Pro V1X probably.
I'm sticking with left dot at outside Colorado.
That Chrome Soft XLS spins a little bit more than a left dash.
Could be your answer. We'll see. I love it, Tony. That's a lot of stuff. I mean, what do we have left? I have 2 questions for you, Tony. You ready?
Go.
Okay, question number 1. You have $1,000. Someone just gave you $1,000 for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. $31. Someone gave you $31. $31.
That's a going rate for a birthday.
Are you going to buy one new golf lesson or one new wedge? Do you want a new wedge or a golf lesson?
How old are my wedges?
Doesn't matter.
They're relatively new. I think the smart money is always on lessons. Not always, because we've talked about this. Not every instructor is created equal. Some of them absolutely suck. Others better than others, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the most immediate impact beats buying a lottery ticket. Yeah, I'd go with the lesson.
All right. Next question.
Not for $31 around here, but
what is the golf equivalent of deciding the World Cup on a penalty shootout?
It's deciding the Masters with a putting competition.
Am I okay? I like soccer, football.
Metric football?
Metric football. My daughter's a very, very good, excellent soccer player. I don't get that part. The penalty. Am I way out of bounds and being frustrated going, this is the biggest sporting event in the world. And you watch these guys play for 80, 90, in this case, 120 minutes, tons of chances, the build up, the play, the shot, and
let's have a kickoff.
Then, so you watch guys play. I mean, the Masters, 72 holes for people like us. So watch all 72 holes potentially, and the good breaks, the bad breaks, the things that happen. Then you say, all right, drive, chip, and putt.
Yeah, it really is. It's like having a 3-hole playoff that at the end of that, everybody's tied up, and you're like, all right, well, let's just move it to the putting green, and we're going to do 10-foot putts, 8-foot putts, 5-foot putts, whatever it is, until somebody wins. Until Messi wins. Some have suggested the World Cup might have had an element of rigging involved. Some soft penalties along the way. What? And when you consider how corrupt every other aspect of it was, it's not totally unbelievable to think that there may have been something else going on. I don't know. I'm bitter. I'm the one guy in the world who wasn't delighted with Messi winning a World Cup. So,
it's fair.
I know. I didn't mean some blowback.
Frankly, I'm more excited for the ladies' women's national team this summer.
That's one we can win.
I am far more excited about the women's World Cup than I am the men's. The women's team is awesome. And here's another thing. That I cannot stand about football, particularly the male football. Guys are a bunch of wusses. They look like they got hit in a drive-by shooting, and the blade of grass goes out. Like, you don't know. Like, they're flopping. They're doing such drama queens. And then...
Well, it's always like, I got a little bump on my shoulder, and then it's like, oh, he hit me in the face.
And
give me a red card.
Then the magic spray. And then 2 seconds later...
I love the magic spray. Oh, yeah. Ball's got it. I got it. I'm back in it. Let's go.
They're sprinting. Like, come on. I can't stand that. Like, my wife and I are watching. I said, okay, pick any sport in the world. Assume I'm not here at the house to protect you. Somebody breaks into the house. What is the last professional athlete you want in the house protecting you? It has to be a soccer player. Oh, my knee. I mean, you would take anything over the soccer player. Can you imagine a soccer player stubbing their toe? Good Lord. It's embarrassing. That's my rant. Whatever. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me, but come on, really? Flop more than LeBron. LeBron would be a good soccer player. He flops a lot.
It's amazing. Like, flopper isn't a position.
Should be.
Maybe that should be right. We'll put a 12th guy out there, and his whole job is to just flop at various points in the game.
I mean, so we know that guy's already.
Nobody else is allowed to. The designated flopper does all the flopping and writhing around in pain and everything that is part and parcel of a professional soccer game.
Yeah, we know they're already on the roster. You just need to get a position for them. They got plenty to choose from.
Get them out there.
Clear.
Get them out there.
Unbelievable. Any final thoughts, Tony?
No, man. We'll
End of
see
2022.
No, it is now. It's 2023 time. We'll tease it right now. The first No Putts Given episode of 2023 will be free and clear, or almost free and clear. We're going to have to I got to look at the dates, but Paradigm, the Callaway Paradigm driver, and we're allowed to say Paradigm because the pics are absolutely everywhere. It's blue. That's what I saw in the pictures.
Looks blue.
It looks blue. It does. Bold.
Until then, it's not going to be that long. Chris Nickel, Golf Spy C. Tony Covey, Golf Spy T. Forgot to say that at the beginning. Whatever. We'll see you next time. We out.
Next year.
Next year.